everyone, I'm Sam Nordberg and welcome to Weekly Mini Training. As you know, we're doing the Behind the Business series, and this week I have with me Bianca McKenzie. So Bianca helps entrepreneurs by taking the stress out of generating targeted leads, which I know is something that we all want, making sales and business growth through Facebook advertising. And Facebook advertising is one of those things that for me is a bit of a love-hate. It can be great and it can be not so great. So that's why I've got Bianca with me today. Hello, Bianca, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Sam.
I'm very excited, actually. I haven't seen you since the Raw retreats, so it's nice to say hi.
Hi. I know, it's been a while.
Oh, I don't even know where the year went. So we'll just start at the beginning. Why did you decide to start a business? Why did you decide to do what you do?
I don't think I really decided.
Perfect.
I think I rolled into it. So this is actually my fourth business, and I rolled into it because this is what my background is. So I did marketing at uni, and I have done, marketing ever since I graduated from uni. Mm-hmm. And all the other businesses were sort of side interests kind of thing, turned businesses. And then at some point, lots of my business friends started asking me for help with social media and marketing and that kind of thing. And that's kind of how I rolled into it. So, yeah. And then at some point I started playing with Facebook ads, and somehow, and don't hate me for this, it started to come naturally to me. It's like I'm one of those people
that... A little bit of hate.
Maybe a little bit. So yeah, like I just kind of got the marketing bit and the tech bit, and it just sort of worked out. And yeah, it grew from there. So I didn't really decide to do this. It sort of just, evolved, and it sort of just happened. But I didn't really plan. I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to start a business. It kind of just happened. And for a long time, I did the side gig thing. I worked for about 2.5 years whilst building the business on the side. And then at some point I quit the job because the side gig had taken over. So yeah, it wasn't a decision. It just kind of happened organically.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I think that's the best way, because I think when, and I've spoken to some other people about this, but when you sit down and make a conscious decision, I just think there's all this pressure on yourself to like get it right the first time, and it's full on. And when it kind of just evolves and grows to a point where you're like, oh, wait, I could actually do this thing full time. Like this makes sense. I feel like it takes a bit of the pressure off. So I like that. It's really good.
Totally. It was good.
Cool. Well, what are the upsides of being in business for yourself? What do you really love about it?
What I really love about it is that I basically get to make my own schedule. I get to get up when I want to. I don't have to sit in traffic, which is a big one for me because I did a 3-hour commute at the start. Oh. Yeah, so getting those 3 hours back is just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, not having that commute, not having to sit in traffic or on a busy crowded train and having to deal with that. So getting up and making my own schedule is great. I get to work from wherever I want to. So right now I'm at home. Most of the time I'm at home. Sometimes I go into co-working spaces. I don't have to ask anyone for time off, for permission. So I spent 4 weeks in Europe earlier this year. So yeah, like just making my own schedule is just the best thing, at about 2:30, my dogs usually come and pester me to go out. So I can just drop everything and do that. It's nice.
Yeah. And you and I were talking just before the video actually about taking time off. And, we were saying that it's ridiculous because when you have to work a 9 to 5, I don't know anyone who's productive from 9 till 5 anyway. Like it makes no sense. And I know when I used to work like for other people that by the time I got to early to mid-afternoon, I was done. Like I procrastinated for the entire afternoon. Sorry, ex-bosses. I didn't get anything productive done. And I know I'm the same at home. So you're right. It's good to be able to pick your own schedule.
Yeah, totally true. Actually, when I still worked in one of my jobs, I was allowed to work from home every now and then. And I would literally be at home. I would have my list, of things that I wanted to get done. And normally I knew what I kind of could get done in a day. And I would literally be done by midday because no one interrupted me.
Yeah.
So I just got so much more done at home. So and then had the whole afternoon. It's like, maybe I'll just do something else. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, I was just a lot more productive. So I do that now as well. I just, I have my list, I get my stuff done. And then if I, finish before I thought I would finish, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, no, perfect. I love it too. All right, so let's be honest then. What are the downsides about being in business? What don't you love?
I get a bit lonely sometimes. My poor husband, when he comes home, he has to hear me talk, for basically ages, because I didn't get to talk to anyone all day. So
yeah,
I do get a little bit lonely. I've got my dogs, but it's kind of it. I do miss sometimes that you don't get that sort of bouncing ideas off each other. You can sort of get really in your head when you're in your business by yourself. And I think we are kind of, in a sense, our worst enemy, that we just take ourselves down a lot because we don't trust our abilities, and especially when we come from a working environment where you have that, other people that can sort of say, yes, that's a great idea, let's brainstorm it. If you do that by yourself, you just kind of go around in circles, and sometimes you just beat yourself up about it. You start doubting yourself. So that I do sometimes miss, and that's why it's really good to have business buddies to just kind of call up or just write a quick Facebook message saying, I've got this idea, what do you think? And then flesh it out a bit more, and being part of online groups and things like that where people just understand what you're going through, because you can't do this by yourself. Like, there's no way that you can go the business journey alone. I would go insane, literally. I would have I already have the biggest roller coaster. Like, this is if you want personal development, start your own business. Like, it's crazy. It's a crazy mindset thing. So no one can do this alone. So I do that's the one thing that I kind of really struggled with at the start. It's kind of strange, like, your abilities, but you start doubting yourself so much. And the loneliness bit I do miss a little bit. And like, there's the general things about not knowing what's going to come into your bank account on a monthly basis, kind of thing. But if you can't handle that, don't go into this at all.
That's true. That's very true. I think it's really good to hear you say those things, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. And even in some of these interview series, and I've said the same thing, that it can be very isolating and very lonely, and you really have to reach out to those groups and those people, because if you don't, you just end up sucked into this vortex of your own crap without realizing it. So I'm right with you there. I must admit as well that daytime loneliness for me is a big thing, and my partner's actually working interstate at the moment, so I only see him 2 nights every 6 weeks. So you can imagine, whenever I'm on the phone to him, I have to get out like 8 hours worth of words in like a half-hour phone call, because I'm like, oh my God, I have to talk to someone.
I know how that feels, although my husband comes home every night, but poor guy.
No, I get you right there. Cool. All right, well, let's talk Facebook ads for a little bit. So what I'd like you to do for me is share with my audience 3 things that they really need to know about Facebook ads. It can be before, during, after, whatever it wants. Just break them down into 3 nice, easy points for me. And we'll start with number 1.
Wow, 3. Okay.
Yeah, 3.
It's good that you limit me, otherwise we'll still be here tomorrow. Well, number 1, as with any marketing activity, like anything you do, you need to have a strategy. Like, you need to have a roadmap. What is it exactly that you're trying to do? So don't literally just go on Facebook and fling some money at a booster post without actually having a goal in mind. So have a strategy, and then have a goal in mind, and then create the roadmap of how you're going to get there. Because Facebook ads, a lot of people actually get disappointed because they don't have a strategy, and because they don't align their goal with what they're trying to achieve. So, if you're trying to get sales and you go about it the wrong way, setting it up the wrong way, you're going to be disappointed. So a strategy is really important.
That is a really big key. I was talking to a local business, like a bricks and mortar business owner once, and they were like, oh, Facebook ads doesn't work, like it's stupid, like you don't get results. I'm like, well, what have you done? And they're like, oh, well, they ran an ad for likes, like page likes, hoping that it would generate more sales, and then they were disappointed because they didn't get sales. And I'm like, well, you ran an ad for likes, why would you get sales?
Yes, exactly. And that's why a lot of people are disappointed, because it's out of alignment. Like, if you're getting likes, that's it. That's what you ran the campaign for. If you're getting likes, your ads are working. So getting sales out of likes is really difficult. So you need to have a proper strategy for that. So And then that brings me to number 2. You need to pick the right conversion goal. So once you know what you want to do, I think at the moment there's 10 different things you can choose in Facebook. They're like in 3 different categories. So that's either like, I think it's like brand awareness type focus. There's an engagement focus and there's a conversion focus. So you need to know what you are trying to do. And this is another thing that people often do. They go straight to the conversion because they want to get the sales, but they haven't warmed their audience up. It's really, really difficult to sell to an audience that has never heard of you before, unless you have a very low priced, no-brainer kind of product. Like I don't really like the term no-brainer, but it's kind of like that non-decision kind of thing. And I always use the example. I bought a dog collar off Facebook like a Facebook ad. Once. It was $15. It was like an embroidered, with like the phone number and the dog's name in it. I didn't have to think about that much. It was $15. I didn't really need to know the company that well to buy it. But if you have, especially services or things like that, where it's like a one-on-one thing or courses, it takes a lot more work. It takes a longer strategy, and you need to warm your audience up. They need to know you before they purchase and hand their money over. So picking the right conversion goal or the right goal for your ad is really important. So don't start with a sales conversion goal with a cold audience. So yeah, that's number 2.
I think that's one of the biggest things I learned from you. So I heard you speak at the Raw retreat, and one of the biggest things I took away is that it's really, really hard with cold traffic. And I know you spoke really enthusiastically on the day about making sure you're warming your leads and driving traffic to areas where you can get to build that trust, and that might be blog posts or whatever, and then having a strategy for how all that works. And I think if anyone doesn't know what their strategy is around that, then it's well worth having a chat to you or looking into that process, because that makes a really big difference. That's for sure.
It makes a huge difference. Selling to cold traffic just doesn't work. It's the same as you would go up to someone in the street and go, "Hey, buy my thing." Wait, what do you think they're going to do?
I was like,
run a mile.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same with Facebook ads. This doesn't work. So yeah, you have to sort of warm them up a little bit. And then number 3 is installing the pixel. And this is where a lot of people would zone out, tune out, and go, "What?" So the pixel basically is a tiny little snippet of code. Someone actually used the analogy of a doormat. It's basically, it's when someone comes into your house and they, wipe their feet on their doormat, the doormat registers this person's gone into your house. So,
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool analogy. So yeah, basically it triggers whenever someone lands on your website if you've installed it. And it tracks IP addresses and things like that. So Facebook knows that this person's gone to your website, and you can do a whole lot of things. The basic thing is that it tracks this visit to your website. But the other things that it does is that because it remembers it, you can build what they call a retargeting audience. So you can then advertise to someone that has already gone to your website. So this is sort of, that's the next process. Once someone has come into contact with you and you've nurtured them and you know that they've, gone to a number of pages, that's when you can invite them to potentially purchase something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for retargeting, but also for tracking purposes and things like that. It does a whole lot of different things that you can do with it. And if you don't have the pixel installed and you are advertising with the aim of making sales, you can't actually track it. So you will not ever know whether or not your ads are effective. So it's really important to have that pixel installed for tracking purposes, but also for sort of future advertising activities.
Yeah, perfect. And I'm pretty sure it was something I read from you maybe once upon a time that said you just go and install the pixel now. Even if you're not Facebook advertising now, just go and stick it in there, because it will start to build that history, so you'll know who's been where.
Exactly, yes.
Trying to explain to my mum once, she'd obviously been looking at knitting wool online, and they had tracking pixels, but cookies and things as well. So then she was on a real estate website, and she's like, "Oh, there's ads for the wool in the side of the real estate site." I'm like, "Yes, Mum." She's like, "Well, how stupid is that? No, how many people buy wool from real estate?" And I'm like, No, mum, it's just you. No one else is seeing that ad. That's just you. And Facebook, like Facebook tracking would help you do the same thing on Facebook. It helps you sort of follow your audience around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like you can go really, really sort of elaborate in it that, you know, as soon as you sort of leave Amazon or whatever, or some sort of web shop, you go onto Facebook and it's like the exact product that you looked at is there. Like there's lots of different ways. But just start with the basic pixel, start sort of, tracking who visits your website, and then you can send them back to that website through ads and things like that.
I think if you do one thing today that Bianca has spoken about, go and install that pixel is probably the best thing you can do, because at least it will give you the opportunity to start building that audience and start tracking. And then when you do get around to doing this, or if you're already doing this, it just gives you so many more options for making sure that things are working right, and it gives you the data. And even if you can't read that data, it gives you the opportunity to go to someone like Bianca, and she knows what's happening. Like she can see what's going on. And if you can't see that, you can't make an informed decision.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, what is it? You can't measure what you don't, I don't know, or you can't grow what you don't measure. That's the one. You can't grow what you don't measure.
One of those things.
Yeah.
You can't do something if you don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you don't know where you're starting at, and then like if you don't have those pixels installed, how are you going to know whether or not you're going to get results? Of course, Facebook ads are not going to work because you're not tracking it right.
Yeah, perfect. Look, guys, a big thank you to Bianca, who's been with us today. Bianca, if people want to find out more about you and Facebook ads and all the things they need to know, where can they find out more information?
They can find me on biancamckenzie.com. That's MC. KENZIE.com, and there's lots of information there. My blog's pretty elaborate on like all the Facebook stuff. So yeah.
Perfect. Look, thank you so much for spending some time with us today and telling us all about Facebook ads, but also telling us a little bit about your business journey and why you do what you do. Guys, that's it for this week. But as always, I will see you in the next video.